paid. This is the HERIS edit, babe.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today in the death of masculinity.
To grieve the death of actual masculinity.
So we just watched the Manosphere.
Right. So last week we promised we tried to be balanced. We tried to talk about, as women, what do we owe? Because the dating landscape is fucked, right? I think we can all agree. I feel like even if you're married, you can appreciate either by way of your single friends if you're married to someone great, or maybe there's some cracks in your current relationship that are just like, man, this ain't right. But unless you've been living under a rock, regardless of your relationship status, I think you can have at least a little bit of an appreciation that shit's fucked up between men and women, right?
This is not going to be suitable for work or anywhere, by the way. Anyone who might be wanting to listen to this is definitely going to be a very
pointed,
concise, raw.
It's very raw because we literally went for a bathroom break and a refresh of our cocktail because it was desperately needed. So we're going from watching the entire thing, which I honestly anticipated watching 15 minutes and being so done with it that I couldn't watch it anymore. But I think I was just like, is this for real? And it was almost like the train wreck that you can't stop watching because you're just like, is this real? Is this really happening? Is this really unfolding before my eyes?
I'm going to dive right in.
Yeah, because
we haven't got to, we've said nothing. We're going to talk raw.
Yep, we're going to keep it raw. We're going to, authentic.
Okay. We just in the last episode, we're talking about what can women do. This is not an emergency. What can women do in our side to make the dating sphere more aligned as a whole?
Right.
And when I asked my partner this, what I received was more or less one kind of answer, but a lot of repetitive phrases of beliefs. I'm going to say this from the lens of the Brittany Renee embodiment coach here.
Okay.
This is where I'm going to speak this from.
Okay.
If my client came to me with these beliefs and was like, women don't want to stay with me, I'm having issues with XYZ. There's a lot of things I want to say about what's being spoken, but the end of the documentary goes into where did these men grow up? What were the issues? And the point that I was like, if you guys watch the clips back, I'm snapping. The mother is in the last scene with one of these guys, and he's all tough, da 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 da, and all of a sudden
I don't care. I'm a bigot. Yeah, I'm a homophobic. I don't give a fuck.
And the mom was like, don't say that. Don't act like that.
I didn't raise you like that.
I didn't raise you like that. And you immediately watch him step back and go, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. And then he makes sure he's out of earshot of her when he tries to puff out his chest again and be like, oh, but da 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 da.
So really, here's the take. If I was the coach sitting here with any of these men, I would say, we're going to talk real talk. Stop this. There are phrases that I can just at this point, fucking Myron Gaines, Andrew Tate, red pill bullshit. Here's the thing. This women don't know what they want. We know what they want. Oh, I'm fuming. She's laughing. She's like, you were more...
I was anticipating, truthfully, I have never watched this because I knew it would inflame me, it would make me angry, and I woke up anxious, knowing that we were going to do this today. And this woman, who I never see really worked up about anything, who is grounded 99.9% of her life, is fuming. And honestly, it makes me beam with pride.
I'm dying because here's the thing. I'm going to just speak to this. These men, these grown men with muscles and cars and money and clout are wounded.
So
they are
wounded.
And they do not like to hear this. Oh, they do not like to hear this. And you know what's funny too? Corey says this. He goes, when you hover above the target, people get irritated. We just watched every single one of these men get irritated
Yep.
because someone outside of their sphere was like, hey, like, what happened in your childhood? Why do you believe this?
Why are you like this, essentially? It wasn't even like that, like straight up. It was just like, tell me about this and why do you believe that? And it honestly, like they were being interviewed by a male documentarist.
That was not intimidating.
Probably someone that this type of man would call a gimp, right?
Yes.
Like, I think I heard somebody say he was 51. He looked like he was in his late 50s, early 60s. But like a very respectful, even, grounded, like, I mean, exactly what you would expect from someone shooting a documentary, right? Like, they're trying to get all sides. They're trying not to lead with bias. I didn't catch that from him at all.
He felt super neutral.
Yes. And then there were times where he was just like, I think he was even caught off guard and was like, you actually believe that? He was like clearly very genuinely caught off guard sometimes.
But what you see, what I saw, these men don't have any idea what they believe. They have no idea what their truth is.
Regurgitated bullshit.
It is. It's like, here is a chat GBT formatted thing that now every podcaster is going to say. Now everyone is going to regurgitate. Now everyone is going to say this. And they're going to speak it as fact. And it's not. And then you have a mother on here being like, that's not true. And the man literally bows back and is like, oh, okay, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, you know, there was a couple of men like in active relationships where they did not want their women on camera. They did not want them to be interviewed. And at the end of the documentary, it made it clear, like, they're no longer together. Because it's like, when you call it out, especially I think when a third party kind of calls out some of the stuff that maybe you've heard in bits and pieces, but hearing it come out of somebody else's mouth, I think probably, especially knowing cameras are rolling and all of those things, like, I'm sure that puts a different spin or feeling. I don't even know what the word is.
Because you're no longer just in that sphere. Now these women are aware enough that they're about to be on a broader stage, that they're now being judged. And this is the irony of all of this. The men are like, we're judged by the women we choose. Vice versa.
Right.
And these women are understanding, maybe as I check myself here, this actually isn't it.
Right.
And Myron even was like, oh yeah, we've had these conversations. And Lewis was like, doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like she's as on board with this as you are leading us to believe.
And he says at one point, like, oh yeah, go clean that up. And she literally goes, yeah. And just walked away. And she verbatim said, how he is on camera is not how he is with me. This is where the issue lies, is that women are healing and men are triggered by these words, but this is just what it is. Women are healing. We are looking at our attachment wounds. We are looking at our traumas. We are looking at our past relationships. We are looking at who we were as children. We are looking at our parents. We are looking at society. We are looking at, what do I actually want in this life? And we are getting deep as fuck in what we want. And the men are like, I just want money.
And I want all these girls to hero worship me and want me. And I don't care if it's because they only want me for my money. I think that almost probably feels safer for men like this. Because they don't have to get deep.
If a girl only wants you for your money, she doesn't give any care to who you are, why you are the way you are, because you're paying her bills or giving her a card. Like, gentlemen, if you're watching this, women who love you, and this was the one too. There was one couple in there. The guy's like, I have it all. She loves me. She has my kids. And I'm like, bro, you are literally giving her a lifestyle that she gets to, quote, be in her feminine and be the mom.
Right.
But if you went broke, she might love you. She's moving into something different, which is where they twist in the Manosphere, where the Myron Gaines angle is, yeah, well, if you're not the big, buff, rich dude, she doesn't care. You're creating that.
100%. You are, when you believe that, you embody it and you put that bullshit out there, that's what you're gonna get back.
And then that's what you believe is all that there is.
And that's what, then you have confirmation bias. You tout yourself as, I'm this this masculine, rich guy that drives a Lamborghini and has these muscles and goes on these trips and does all these deals and da 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 da. And then you are entertaining women who have two brain cells that are probably fighting each other and don't give a fuck about anything deeper than what car you're providing for them, how many Gucci bags that they can purchase, what it is that these women are actually attaching to. You are creating your own reality.
Because here is the thing, verbatim have said this. I said, the men are creating, not even men, we all create a reality.
Yep.
Okay. I am an embodiment, consciousness, spiritual, energetic, woo-woo, crunchy girly, right? 100% I am that. I believe we create a reality.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched myself create a reality where I say, oh, I just want to have fun. I just want to party. I just want to whatever. And that was my life.
Right.
As soon as I started to tweak and say, no, you know, I actually want a committed relationship. I want this, I started to magnetize that. The scary part of the manosphere for me is there's tiny laces of truth in here, surrounded by a lot of fucking bias and a lot of things that aren't truth, but they are being preached as truth, which is, I think, where it messes with people who don't have the life experience, right? And I think if we're thinking about the age of men that are primarily following these guys, these are the podcasters, these are the YouTubers, these are the influencers. This is the, I'm going to guess, the stretch of 18 to 30, maybe mid to late 30 men. I don't see any 40 plus men following these guys.
Absolutely not.
Because I think they look at them like my stepdad. I sent him a clip from this yesterday. He sent me a message. He goes, I am saying this with love. Anyone who listens to this isn't no fucking idea what they're talking about. No respect for women. He's like, whoever watches that and ingests that, do not interact.
I 1000% agree. 1000%. I just, like, what could draw a person in and then ultimately convince you that this is the way?
The flashiness. It's the look, I have the money. Look, I have pretty girls. Look, and you know what? Here's, I guess, the piece on feminism. Okay. Feminism. I do understand that women have had to step into their masculinity more than ever. I have had to do that. So we're telling me, and this is where the conversations tend to go quiet, because I am that person who will listen to every angle. I will listen to all the things. I will not interrupt you. I will let you talk. But I will question you. Yeah. And I will say, like, okay, putting on the table here, I have 2 boys, different fathers. Never, ever, 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 ever in my wildest dreams did I think I would say that. Never have I wanted to say that. Never has there been a yeah, that's the life I want to live. And I think we've talked about this.
Right.
No woman that I know that is any sanity wants to be a single mother.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Why? Why would you want that?
Right.
So if you are seeing these women having to step into their masculine because, hey, guess what? Guess who this falls on? 9 times out of 10. There are some men that do step up. 9 times out of 10, a couple gets together, the woman gets pregnant. Guess what happens when they split up? The mother has primary custody, physical custody. She is the bearer of most of the things. She does the schedules, the doctor's appointments, all the things. Now, what the men tend to do, if they can, finances. Well, I make more than you, so
I'll give you $20 for a pack of diapers. Thanks.
I appreciate that. No one wants to be in that space.
Absolutely not.
And this is where this is the chicken before the egg conversation. Because when these men are in this space, like, don't date single moms. I actually don't get triggered by that, because when I have a conversation with the man who tries to say that and then I sit with him and we talk about it, they end up speechless. So you're telling me that I was manipulated in many ways by a man. I loved unconditionally, which we're supposed to do, right? This is what everyone's telling us. Supposed to unconditionally love you.
Right.
And then I left because either you abused, manipulated, or you were not the version of a man I would want mine, and I have boys. I would not want my boys to look at as a example. And no matter what, you're their dad. I'm not going to take them from you.
Right.
But I'm not going to sign the dotted line while they're growing up to say, you know what, that's it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We know that when we get older, we see our parents.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I have zero to hide from my kids. Never, ever, 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 ever am I scared for my kids seeing who I am.
Right. Absolutely not.
But they also know I've had to step into my masculine because you have to be mom, you have to be dad, you have to be all the things.
You have to do all the things.
And then a man can come in, but now there's all this judgment on single mom. Why is she single? And I'm not saying women are perfect.
There's one in particular I'm thinking of who's a comedian. She's Canadian, lives in the UK, and she doesn't have a huge American following, but she is known to say, you know, my husband is one fuck up away from ruining his whole life. And she says it with like such conviction. And, you know, the interviewer is like, but don't you think that it's the same thing for women? And she's like, absolutely fucking not. She's like, do women cheat? Absolutely. But
we're not perfect.
But when they do, it's because they have fallen in love with someone.
Because their current partner has not given them what they needed. And this is where the conversation ends every single fucking time.
Every time. Where a man just steps out of his house sometimes and his dick automatically just falls into somebody else because he is literally one dumb decision away from ruining his life.
Never have I ever.
She's happily married. Like, and she's like, I don't trust Bobby. And she openly says this. She's like, do I think he will do anything? I mean, no. Is he capable? Absolutely, because he is a man.
Never have I ever in my years of coaching at this point, have I ever heard a woman, friendships, coaching, whatever. I've never heard a woman say, I left my man or cheated on my man or ended a relationship because I was so fucking taken care of. I was so seen. I was so satisfied. I was so happy. I was so in my feminine. Never have I ever. You know why? Because it doesn't fucking happen.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
So we talk about the chicken before the egg. A man wants to lead. You want to lead? By leading, that means that you lead and you constantly understand women evolve.
Yes.
And you meet them. And if you don't meet them, then we start to have issues. If they aren't satisfied, if they aren't held, if they aren't, and this is, you know, this is where the men will come in and say, but what about the man? But what about the man? Women, if we love you, I'm going to go on a branch here. If I love you, I will go to the ends of the earth. And this isn't even just my lover. This is like my best friends. One of my best friends, you heard her on a voice note this morning crying to me, sent me a TikTok and she goes, she sent the crying face and she's like, oh my God, this was like when you came to save me. One of my very good friends had a complete breakdown. And literally the next day I was on a flight out to see her. It was like late that night. I got in early in the morning and got to her.
Right.
And the TikTok was this woman and it's like someone in a complete breakdown. She's like, I need you to be here. And she's like, I'll be there in the morning, finding the next flight. Women by nature are nurturing, unconditional, loving creatures.
Absolutely.
And men can be. We don't have much. I don't actually, and this makes my heart sad to say, I don't know one man who I could look at. My stepdad is probably the closest, but like, I don't know one man I could look at that's like, I felt unconditional love.
No.
Now, women, even women I haven't
list.
talked to in years. My old best friend, who I love to the ends of the earth still, I know that if I was in it, I could call her right now and she would be like, I got you.
Right. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. We are just simply made differently when it comes to that. And it's just so unfortunate because, you know, we've talked a lot about this, about how like men don't necessarily have the examples of, you even talked about this, like your high school boyfriend, right? Like when we were in high school, there was all these examples of simping over your woman, doting over her, taking care of her in ways that made her feel seen and loved and cared for. And that is just not the case anymore. And it's partly, I think, or maybe largely due to these fucksticks that have microphones in front of their faces that are spewing all of this misinformation, bastardizing the dynamics between men and women, and talking about it as if it's fact, as if they have any authority, as if they have had any example, because every single one of these influencers or podcasters or whatever you want to call them that were described, They all talked about how their fathers were not present. Their fathers were abusive mentally, physically. So they were
Pierced.
all raised by single mothers who were left
Which
in peril
infuriates
due
me.
to a man. And like, here we are perpetuating this bullshit too. I mean, they're showing all these examples on like the streets of London of 13-year-old boys, gaggles of 13-year-old boys being like, yo, that's my dog. Why is that your dog? Because you're just validating or triggering or bringing up this weird, like, I don't have to do shit. I just have all of this male privilege where I can just sit back and I can get jacked and I can make money and I can drive the flashy car that I probably don't even own that I'm just renting.
Oh, that was the kicker of this. This man is saying he's worth 30 million. Worth 30 million. He's allegedly renting condos.
Also, he has a third child on the way with a woman who he refers to as his wife, but will not legally marry.
Because it is a risk for him financially.
Yeah, and of course he didn't say that, because that would take an ego blow for him to say, I'm worried that my money situation could be disrupted.
How that was
by a
framed.
woman.
Right. And how it was framed was, why aren't you getting married? Because of the finances? He says yes. And then the woman's response was, well, I don't feel like it's a threat for me.
Meanwhile, she's given up her career. She has devoted her entire life to paving the way for him, cleaning, cooking, taking care of his children. Now, we are both people who appreciate and in some ways like covet traditional roles, right?
Absolutely.
We both love being in our soft, feminine selves.
Yes.
For that to happen, though, it has to be met with a healthy masculine.
Yes.
And she's saying that, but she doesn't actually have that because he's not fully choosing her.
But I'm sure the ultimatum in that relationship had to have been somewhere along the lines of, what, you don't trust me?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think you're having my baby? What do you mean I don't love you? You have this beautiful house. You have the cars. You have the black card. You have the whatever. What do you mean? And, okay, so I understand a privilege. I know I speak a privilege of pretty privilege of, I grew up in a family with money. I grew up with a lot of privilege. I am the first to admit that. And I have dated men with no money. I have dated men with multi-millions, almost billions of money. And what I will say is that these men on this thing that are like touting, I got the Lambo, I got the whatever, like that isn't part of the clips. I'm like, you know what the fucking joke of this is? Men with real money
don't need to brag about it.
My ex, who made a lot of money, wore fucking flip-flops, shorts, and a fucking t-shirt. Here's the thing. It is one thing to have fun and be like, we're the bosses, we can be whatever, right? This embodiment of power. And also, we even on the podcast, like, we wore black today because we're mourning, okay? We're really mourning the fact that this is like...
This is very intentional, yeah.
This is very intentional. But in reality, these men who have to speak, and this is anything, I don't even want to say just men. If you have to say I am something, like I say this about leaders. If you have to say I am a leader, I am alpha, I am masculine, I am this, you are giving yourself away to such a degree. I don't have to say shit. I walk in a room and people are like, who's that bitch?
Yep. You don't have to say anything.
I don't have to say anything because my energy speaks for who I am.
100%.
That is not what's happening right now. And then they're teaching these boys that even the guy goes, I'm teaching boys to be boys. Boys to be boys. Boys to be boys.
Yeah.
You're not teaching how to be a man because you don't even
know
how to be a man.
You have no fucking clue how to be a man or what that even means.
I told Kristen, so we're going on a little girls trip this weekend to Nashville. And I said, wouldn't it be so funny if we just took our little mini mics and we went out on Broadway? And I said, we even scouted the like, okay, kind of looks like he's got money. Right? Maybe a little bit. And this is even going against what we're saying a little bit, right? Because I'm like, my ex wore flip-flops, a t-shirt, and whatever.
Yeah.
I will say this about myself. Call me what you will. I can read energies pretty well. When you see an embodied man, that's maybe the word, right? When we see someone who looks super grounded and embodied, I would love to just be like, hey, we have a podcast. We talk about relationships and men and women. can we ask you some questions? I would love to know what these men say, because the reality, and like Corey was like, I'm shocked. He was actually thought I was joking when I said me and Kristen are going to do like, what can women do as he's like,
Yeah.
you're a female podcast talking about what women can do better. I'm like, yeah, because it's an equation. It's not just the men. It is men
Yep.
and the women
Right.
together coming together.
Yep.
But I am not opposed to taking the streets of Indianapolis,
I
the
think we
streets of
should.
Nashville, the streets of whatever.
I think we
Hashtag
should.
write-off.
Yeah, that's thinking like a real man.
That's thinking like a man.
That's thinking like a boss. Let's go. I'm down to do that. We have the little mics. Just charge.
We might wrangle your best friend into being a
Oh, yeah.
cameraman.
He'll be our bodyguard. He'll probably wear spades and
What did
everything.
they say in the Manosphere? That's my muscle. I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I'm sorry, you need muscle? I thought you worked out.
I thought you were the muscle.
I thought you worked out.
Why are we upset?
Why are you upset? Why are you upset about anything? If you're so unbothered, right? And that's one of the things that we kept seeing over and over again, too. Like this nondescript, non-threatening older gentleman who is being very fair, very unbiased, asking questions, like just trying to get to the bottom of, trying to understand. And they really played like all of these men that they covered have disgusting and horrible content. They played very little of that, thankfully. I think I was expecting more of that. I was like, that's what I was like prepping for the rage to
This
come
was
into the
actually a
equation.
tasteful documentary, if we're being
It
honest.
really, really was. It's revealing without being completely inflammatory and distasteful. But yeah, they just showed their true colors over and over and over again about how, but anytime they're questioned, and this is something that I have noticed in relationships with men, especially with faux alpha men, anytime they're questioned, they take that as a personal attack on their character. And I'm like, if this is who you are, if this is who you embody, if this is truly like at the crux of your humanness, let alone manhood, answering a question should be not threatening at all. And the fact that you turn into a literal baby back bitch when someone asks you a question shows me that all of this is fucking fake. It's all a facade. It is all just fake alpha bullshit.
And one of the guys, I don't know his name, but Lewis asked him a question and he just laughed. He goes, oh, here we go. Here we go, attacking me. And I was like, whoa. And even Lewis was like, I'm literally just asking you.
No one attacked you. Literally no one attacked you.
I would love to go on this Myron Gaines podcast. You know what? I know this may never reach him, but if ever he was watching this, I would love to go on here, because here's the thing. Myron only brings on what fits his bill.
100%. He's not bringing on a woman like you or me who can hold her own, hold a conversation, and no shade.
Absolutely
It has
not.
nothing to do with how a woman chooses to
No.
make money. He is intentionally choosing women
Because
because he wants to degrade them. He's finding the ones that probably maybe aren't the most articulate, maybe can't think on their feet. Maybe they've had drugs and alcohol before this segment, but no one's going to know that. He's not going to admit that.
That's why he shut that girl down.
Yeah. Because when she did start to stand up for herself and push back, he couldn't handle that. His goal is to dehumanize women. His goal is to humiliate them.
And the question that was on the show was name 3 countries. And do you know what here's a funny question. What would you ask that man? If you wanted to, quote, get him, what would you ask someone like Myron Gaines?
If I wanted to get him, I don't know. Do you know what
I'm
you
going
would
to
ask?
spit. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've thought about this one.
Yeah, because I didn't know who this man was until like today. You've referenced it before, but like seeing him in action is completely different than just hearing. Yeah. I love how heated you are. I'm obsessed.
For those of you who don't know me,
Normally I'm the spicy one, right? Like she's the rational, grounded, calm one.
woo. Okay. Here are some, just a stream of consciousness. If I was sitting at Fresh and Fit's table, tell me 5 different ways you could make a woman orgasm.
Yeah.
And I don't mean
even like simple anatomy questions.
Oh,
he probably cannot answer.
anatomy questions. Okay. Number 1. Number 2.
How many holes do women have?
That was actually one I thought of. Number 3.
Yeah.
Tell me your attachment style and why do you have that?
Yeah. What's your relationship like with your mother? What's your relationship like with your father? What's your strongest childhood memory? How did you feel loved by your mother?
When was the first time you felt traumatized?
Yeah. When was the first time you ever felt loved?
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we having a hard time? Am I over the target?
Oh, am I triggering you?
Am I triggering you? Are you triggered right now? And here's the reason they don't bring women like us on. There was a woman I actually saw this morning when I woke up at 3 a.m. and couldn't sleep because I think I too was like vibrating on what we were doing today.
Mhm.
And it's funny because Corey rolled over, he goes, "Are you watching Myron Gaines?" I was like, yeah. This woman
Doing
professor,
research. Yeah.
because now Myron is going around like Charlie Kirk did at universities doing speaking engagements, right? This woman professor comes up and says, "I'm just curious, where do you get your statistics from?"
Mm.
Fucking valid question. Because this is how life is. That's not an answer. So she starts citing things and she says, actually, according to blah, 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 these are actually the statistics of women, men, relationships, whatever. And he's like, well, that's not societal stand. And she goes, so you're actually citing society's evolution. You're not citing biological facts, which is what he claims. This is biology.
Oh, right. Women don't even know what they want. I know what they want subconsciously.
And he ends up looking down because he doesn't even know what the fuck to say.
Yeah.
If you're going to speak on a podcast, if you're going to be a leader, and I am like, ooh, I get really spicy on this topic about integrity.
Yeah.
Be clear with what is a proven numbered statistic and what is your opinion.
Right.
I say often, my opinion is,
Exactly.
my experience is, we are preaching on Fresh and Fit, biology states, and there are factual studies going against what you're saying.
Right.
But these 12, 13, 14, 30-year-old men are not doing due diligence because now we've been, we even said this, I think, on our first podcast. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, there are news now.
Absolutely. And to your earlier point, these young men, boys, are seeing the Lamborghinis, they're seeing the tailored suits, they're seeing the hot women around them, they're seeing them buying $10,000-$20,000 tables at nightclubs in Miami, and they're like, I want that. And so it gives them automatic credibility because these young men are like, I want that. So clearly he knows what the fuck he's talking about because he has that. But he doesn't know what he's talking about. He has muddled his way through. He has somehow found some form of outward success. At least in a way, he's renting a condo on Biscayne. He's essentially paying a woman to mother the children that he has sired. Like, none of it's fucking real.
No, and because we live in the world of Instagram and social media, you are willing to be cringe. You are willing to do things. You are willing to say things that are gonna make people be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whether my view on that on your view count is because I'm like, this is absolutely asinine, or because I'm like, oh, wow, I actually just had a date that felt really similar to this and I kind of resonate. It doesn't matter because we're both giving you a clicker on the top. It doesn't matter because they're making money off of all of these views, right?
Yeah.
So like that was very clear to me too, is I'm like, I have a big following on social media. I am well aware the more authentic I am sometimes, the less views I will get because it's not clickbait.
Right, exactly. And like several of them were very transparent about that. Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
It's all for the money.
It's all for the money. 100% of the time. So what do we do with it? What do we do with this information?
I mean, I'm going to be like, you know, real about this and just my view, because this is why I love that there's the two of us, right? Like I stated in the last episode, I walked in on a Myron Gaines episode and I did not know what I was getting into. And I was like, oh, okay, this is something.
This is different.
And over our last 2 years of dating, we have talked about this a lot. And I've even witnessed it with us. The regurgitation of verbatim, blah, 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 blah. But yet the action is different. And the first thing Corey told me in our relationship, I might not speak communication like you because I am obviously a very big talker, communicator. My actions will show you what I mean. And he goes, and in both ways. Like if I'm into it, I'm going to be courting, I'm going to be asking for dates, I want to hang out with you, I want to make time for you. And if I'm also ignoring you and don't respond, read the action.
Oh, yeah. A dog doesn't bark when he's being fed.
So I watched that on this, though. These men are saying and projecting one thing, and then you see their women, their mothers, see the women in their life.
Yeah.
And they all back down.
Honestly, even some of the men, like some of their like, oh, he's a fan. Like, especially that like 23-year-old guy. I can't remember his name and I don't want to know his name, but he's like, oh yeah, I won the Range Rover giveaway. Or,
all of the people in his house won shit from him.
Exactly. Or even the men are getting something from him financially. So like he has zero real, zero authentic. It's really quite sad. And at the same time, it's disgusting because they're spewing this to the next generation. And I hate it. I hate all of it. I hate it just as much as I expected I would.
We're just as upset as we thought we'd be. I think that this isn't an answer, and this is just my personal opinion here. Not fact, necessarily. Opinion. I think as a woman, it's been a very... I don't want to say trying, because that's not necessarily the word. It's tested my embodiment and my truth on what I believe in relationships, what and Corey multiple times has looked at me and he's like, I never expected we'd be here. I never expected we'd get here. I never, and it's this constant, like, I'm in shock that we actually are where we are. And I have to check it all the time because I'm like, do you want to be? Like, are you wanting to be here? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. But his mind is coming from, he had a really rough first relationship, not a great second relationship. And now he's following these men who are feeding this program. And now he has a woman who is unconditional, who is feminine, who can hold the masculine, who can sit in a uncomfortable ass conversation calmly and be like, okay, like, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, can we talk through that? Because maybe I'm feeling this or seeing this, and then you're saying this.
Right.
I am a anomaly. And he'll say things like, girls think they're the exception. And I look at him and I'm like, I mean, from our conversations, I am the exception.
Right.
And then it's like silence, because it's like, okay, maybe more girls are actually the exception than we're willing to admit.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. Of course, there's bad apples. There always is, like in any demographic of anything, right? And this is like a hot button topic, but like police officers, there are bad ones that ruin it kind of for everyone. And I think that that's the case for women. Unfortunately, I can't extend that same grace for men. Like, I just can't. Because if there was a woman doing the equivalent of this, I'd be like, the hell is she talking about?
They think that we do it all the time. Like, they're gonna look at this episode and they're gonna think that's what we're doing.
Yeah, because they think that because they see us through their own lens, right?
Correct.
Like, they assume that we do what they do.
Correct.
And what we're here to say is that is not true. Women are more evolved. I will die on that hill. In a lot of reasons, not because we're better or stronger or smarter, but because we are wired for community. We are wired for companionship. We are wired to give and receive feedback. We don't have this problem with our egos. It's just, we could not be more different in this, right, allegorically speaking. And I am like the last person to speak in absolutes, but that is something as someone in her early 40s will say, life experience has shown me over and over and over again with consistency, women are more evolved because we pay attention. We do it categorically in all areas of our lives, not just at work, not just in business. We want to be better mothers and sisters and friends and daughters and wives. It's all of it.
We want to be better. And that's
constantly.
That's the piece, right?
Yeah.
That's it, is that these leading men, quote unquote, right, who are doing this manosphere, they don't care to be better. They're like, take me as I am.
They don't care to be better because they're like, I am already the best. Have this like sense of entitlement that like they feel like they were born with.
And the reason that they need multiple women is because women won't stay for long in that.
Nope. And so they have to have the next one on the hook, on the line. They have to have a pipeline of women. And that is why when you see a man who is, call it mid to late 30s, who's never been married, doesn't have children, like that is a deep, deep red flag for me, especially living in middle America. Maybe the age, maybe that shifts a little bit more like
On the coast, yeah.
That is a deep red flag for me because I'm like, you have never had to be accountable to a partner. You don't know what it's like to have and raise children. And these men don't either, even though they have, children. They just have no one outside of themselves to challenge them on a real level, to push them to be something better or different.
Because they couldn't hold what they're holding in that.
Absolutely. They couldn't take it. They couldn't hold space for it. They don't have the wherewithal to take feedback. As you and I know, the feminine is a mirror to the masculine. And the men who cannot hold space for that won't get married and haven't been married by the time they're 40.
I mean, I go back to my ex. My ex was 60. I was 35 when we met. I have never seen such a grown man. And I say this because, like, I've always dated up. I always have. In high school, if I was a freshman, I dated the senior, right? Yeah. My ex, I was not looking for that. That was not it. Right. This fell into my existence in a way that was so organic, you couldn't have fucking made it up.
Yep.
And I went slow with that one too, because I was like, the age gap is big.
Yep.
I had no idea when we first started talking, in the sense that we did, that he had money. I knew that obviously he had some money because he was paying my rates, and I'm
not cheap. Yeah.
Not a cheap investment to coach, but no idea what the gravity of that was. And to have a 60-year-old man admit to me, I have never verbalized in my life that I am scared for how much I care about you. He has had 2 wives. He has had children. He has gone through this whole thing. Never once, and he was saying this in tears, I've never verbally said I'm scared. I'm scared with how much I feel with you. Challenge me to go into places that no one has ever challenged me to go into. That's fucking scary. I don't feel in my power in all of those places.
Which I think that is a primary driver of older men who date much younger women. They are not challenged, and that's what they want. I have very, very strong views about a very large age gap. I think for you in that specific example or in that specific relationship, your prefrontal cortex was developed. You had already established your career. You had already lived life. You had had 2 children. Like, that is different. Even though the age gap is quite vast, you were still a full-ass adult, full-ass woman, mother. I think a lot of the reason that people have this like ick for men who date much younger women, and they don't necessarily have like the words for the why, is because there is this inherent power dynamic that is way imbalanced, especially if you're talking about a woman in her, late teens to 20s, and someone say north of 35 with that person. That is an inherent power dynamic imbalance. And I feel very strongly that the reason it makes me feel so icky is because that man is literally seeking, outside of the obvious physical part, right? I'm not even talking about that. Because, like, do I think a 22-year-old man is hot? Probably. Would I ever date him? Absolutely not. Like, I'm not interested in that at all. What would I even talk to? Like, we don't even share music, right? Aside from, like, the aesthetics, aside from the physical part, right? Like, the obvious stuff. What troubles me about it, and probably other people too that maybe don't have words for it, is you don't want to be held accountable. Don't want someone to challenge you. You don't want to have a woman that has actual life experience to be able to be like, are you sure that's what you want? Like, it's the challenge part. They want the easy path. They just want the hot arm candy that's not going to challenge them, that's not going to question them, that they're in charge. And it's no different from this bullshit that we just spent an hour and a half of our lives watching.
I feel like we've started this little like, what's our last chat bubble? We have a serious problem in the dating sphere. I'm not even going to say manosphere, right? The dating sphere. We have a serious problem. And again, piggybacking on our last episode, we need to unplug from social media. We need to unplug from all of the noise and really sit with like me as a sovereign being. What do I want? What do I want? And do not judge yourself. Do not be like, well, I shouldn't want that. I am unapologetically, I want to be in my feminine.
Yeah.
I want a man to provide financially. I want him to provide security. I want him to provide stability.
Safety. Yeah.
Safety. I know that I am an emotional being. Me specifically, it's a circus sometimes, right? Like I lead retreats with people that have huge releases. And then I go home and I need the support because I'm holding all these people. I have a community of almost 200 people that I hold every month.
Right.
Yes, I want that. And I can willingly sit and speak that I want that because I know how I show up as a partner. And that's the other side of this, right? Is like, y'all, if you're in dating, this is a two-way street. This is you as a man, you as a woman, or woman, woman, man, man, whatever we're doing, right?
Yep.
Feminine and masculine is the dance of you both have to give. And it has
100%.
to find places and ways where it's 50-50, 80-20, whatever we want to call it. It cannot lean into just, I'm the man, I make the money, I do whatever the fuck I want. And that person just gets to receive what they get because they're worthy of whatever I decide they're worthy of. It won't work long term.
No, it's fleeting. It's absolutely
And
fleeting.
that showed it. These women left before the documentary even aired.
Because it exposed the bullshit.
What about your text bubble?
My text bubble is just, I feel like always the same. Know who you are, know what you want. Don't get caught up. I feel like it is so easy. These men have found a way to expose women, their deepest emotional rawness, right? It's like, they're getting this like sense of I'm being chosen, I'm being provided for. No, you're not. Like if a man is not willing to invest in you in the most serious of ways, that's not a true investment in you. That is not being chosen. And learning how to walk away from that and not give so much of the most beautiful parts of you, which is exactly what you said about how women are so quick to love unconditionally and nurture and provide that emotional stability and peace and all of these things. Like, don't give that shit away for free. Don't give it away. And I think leaning more into your friends who are literally going to be there no matter what and are going to be there for you to pick up the pieces, put more effort into that. And like let this other stuff kind of happen. And when it's not working out in a way that feels aligned for you, let that stuff fall way faster. If I could coach little me, it would be like, don't stay so long. Don't put up with so much. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Yep. Don't wait for it to get so bad where you get yourself spun up in this tizzy where you're having anxiety days on end about something. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
Whew. This is the first episode you found on the HERIS edit. Welcome to the group chat.
Right.
For those of you who may be watching or listening, though, we would love for you to subscribe, to comment, to let us know maybe any topics, too, that you feel called for us to talk on.
Let us know your experience in this space. Like, where have you seen it work? Where have you seen it not work? What are the bad habits that you've seen? We'd love to hear all of that feedback.
And this podcast is evolving in a really cool, authentic, organic way as we move.
I agree.
We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for being here.
HERIS. Pretty and paid. This is the HERIS edit, babe.